more about naming compounds. We did finish the ionic side of this. Now I'm going to talk about the covalent side. And then I'm going to run through a number of examples just to help you out. Of course, that will be in a different video because I'm going to use a different set of software. Okay, so is it ionic covalent? If it does not contain a metal or an H3, then it will be covalent. And so if it is covalent, the next thing we need to think about would be, is it an acid? And to answer that question, does it start with an H? If it starts with an H, then yes, it is an acid. If it does not start with an H, then it's not an acid. So let's finish the not acid side so that we can just kind of finish this out. And the acids are going to be a little bit more complicated, I guess, or more thoughts to go through. So if it's not an acid, that means it's two nonmetals. Then we have kind of the easiest way of naming, and that's where we use prefixes. This is where the name carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide come from, is this type of naming. So you've already heard it, you just haven't figured out the rules behind it. And so we use a prefix for each type of atom. And I'll give you the list of the 10 that you need to know, which is going to be 1 through 10, mono, di, tri, tetra, etc. And then you name the first atom using a prefix, except if there's only one of it. Good example of that would be carbon dioxide, which is CO2. And then the second element changes the ending, just like we did with the ionic compounds, to IDE. So if I had one nitrogen with 3 oxygens, and if it was not an ion, if it was neutral, then it would be nitrogen trioxide. If it had a charge, it would be nitrate. Okay, so let's go back to the acid side. If it is an acid, we have to figure out what is that hydrogen with. And let's go down here to this first box. And of course, I'm expecting you to stop and start and rewind this. It'll take you much longer than the video length. So what is the hydrogen with? If it is with a halogen, something like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, then we give it the prefix hydro. We put in the stem, and then we add ic and acid. So if it was HF, it would be hydrofluoric acid. If it was chlorine, it would be hydrochloric acid. So pretty straightforward. However, if it is not with a halogen, if it is with one of our polyatomic ions, then we have a little bit more difficult road ahead of us, because we have to figure out what that polyatomic anion is, because that's going to tell us the name of the acid. And so if the polyatomic ion, if its name was something like nitrate, then if I put an H in front of NO3-, I get nitric acid. If it was NO2, and so that would be nitrite, then it would be nitrous acid. And if we have a situation like with the 4 of them, with the halogens, you just keep the per and the hypo with that name. Okay, so this ends the most of the naming for you. We will come back to this, and make sure you watch the second video again as well. Thank you.